Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, so we're still in the middle of the story of the Bedouin and the Caliph. So last session we read that the husband, the man said to the wife, I submit to your decree. And the wife suggested, we have this jug of rainwater, and there's nothing more precious than this in the desert. So take this jug to the Caliph and protect it from being defiled, from being polluted, and make sure it reaches the Caliph. So that was the wife's suggestion. And yeah, the wife said, when the gracious king comes into the field, when Allah Ta'ala comes to the Maidan, then every lack of means becomes a means. Then not having anything, that faqr, that niaz, supplication, that itself is means. That itself will become your means. And yes, so the man takes the jug, and then Mawlana explained, this is the jug of our body. What is the jug? Our confined body. And within it is the briny water of our senses. And so this is our jug. This is our jug with the 5 spouts. It's our limited existence. But Allah Ta'ala, because of His bounty, because of His generosity, purchases that from us. And Allah ashtara min al-mu'minin. God purchases your souls and your possessions, even though in comparison to His ocean of bounty, these are nothing, but He purchases you and gives you eternal life, gives you paradise in return. So yes, the wife said, "Lulaha barbando pordarash sekhom." Stop up its spouts and fill it from the jar, and then once it's clean, once it's cleansed, it will become connected to the ocean. It will become one with the ocean. So even though it's in a jar, it will be infinite. It will be connected to the vastness of the ocean. And yeah, they didn't know that the Khalifa lives in Baghdad. So he lives next to the Dijla, right next to the sea, next to the river. And Robar Sultan Karobar bin. There are rivers there, and that comes from the Qur'an. Jannat and tajri min tahta al-anhar. There are gardens and rivers flowing. So this man is taking this jug of water, but doesn't know where he's going. He's going to the source. And Mawlana says, all our senses, all our perceptions, in comparison to Allah Ta'ala, in comparison to His bounty, in comparison to paradise, they're just like a single drop in the ocean. They're just like a single drop in those rivers. So that's the beginning of the new section. Okay, so let's inshallah start the new section. Kanza, would you mind?
Sure, with pleasure. All right. Bismillah. How the Arab's wives sewed the jug of rainwater in a felt cloth and put a seal on it because of the Arab's utter conviction. Yes, said the husband, stop up the mouth of the jug. Take care, for this is a gift that will bring us profit. Sew this jug in felt, that the king may break his fast with our gift. For there is no like this in the entire world. No water is as pure as this. Because they are always full of infirmity and half blind from bitter and briny waters, the bird whose dwelling place is the briny water, how should it know where to find in it, the clear water? Or you whose abode is in the briny spring, how should you know the Shat and the Jehun and the Euphrates? O you who have not escaped from this fleeting caravanserai, how should you know self-extinction and intoxication and expansion? And if you know, it is handed down to you from father and grandfather. To those, these names are like Abjad. How plain and evident to all children are Abjad and Hawaz, and the real meaning is far away. Then the Arab man took up the jug and set out the journey, carrying it along day and night. He was trembling for the jug, in fear of fortune's mischief. All the same, he conveyed it from the desert to the city. His wife unrolled the prayer rug in supplication. She made Rabbi Salim her litany in prayer. crying, "Keep our water safe from scoundrels, O Lord. Let that pearl arrive at that sea. Although my husband is shrewd and artful, yet the essence has thousands of enemies. Pearl indeed, it is the water of Kawthar. It is a drop of this that is the origin of the pearl." Through the prayers and lamentation of the wife, and through the husband's anxiety and his patience under the heavy burden, he bore it without delay, safe from robbers and unhurt by stones, to the seat of the caliphate. He saw a bountiful court. The need had spread their nets. Everywhere, moment by moment, some petitioner gained from that court a donation and robe of honor. It was like sun and rain, nay, like paradise, for infidel and true believer, and good folk and bad. He beheld some people arrayed in the sight, and others who had risen to their feet waiting. High and low, from Solomon to the arch, they had become quickened with life, like the world at the blast of the trumpet. The followers of form were woven in essence. The followers of reality had found the sea of reality. Those without aspiration, how aspiring had they become? And those of high aspiration, to what felicity had they attained?
Okay, so گفت مرد گفتاری سبو را سر ببند. So the man said, yes, close the mouth of the jug. این که این هدیه است ما را سودمند. Because this gift will bring us so many benefits. در نمد در دوز تو این کوزه را تا گشاید شه به هدیه روزه را. And so this jug in a felt cloth so that I will take this to the king and the king will break his fast with this water. And now they haven't seen, they've lived all their lives in the desert. So for them, this is the best thing in the world. So they say, this water is pure. It's like wine. Nothing is better than this in the whole world. Those other people, they don't know what pure water is. Now, Mawlana says, this is like us. This is like us. We haven't seen anything but briny water. We see bitter water. Those who are confined in the material world, all they see is bitterness. All they see is briny water. And they think this is the best because they haven't seen anything else. That's what they have. That's their frame of reference. Just like a bird that lives in the briny water doesn't know what clear water is, doesn't have anything to compare it to. این که اندر چشمه شور است جات, if you live in a briny spring, you don't know what the pure rivers are. You don't know what Jayhun is, or what Furat is, Dijla is, all those great rivers. You have no idea. And it is same with us. ای تو نارسته از این فانی رباط. You haven't escaped from this inn, from this rabat, caravanserai. You haven't seen anything else. How would you know? How would you know what mahv is, sukr is, all these stations that Sufis talk about? What are those? If you haven't been out of this inn, you don't know what they are. Yes, you may know, you may have read them in books, but that's not true knowledge. If you know, meaning if you think you know, because you've read it in books or because you've heard it from others, that's not true knowledge. That's something you've received. It's handed down to you from father and grandfather. It's naql, it's not nuql, right? As Mawlana says, it's not the sweets. It's not experiencing the sweets for yourself. It's something that's been passed, handed down to you from previous generations, and you've just passively heard about them and read about them. That's not true knowledge. پیش تو این نام‌ها چون ابجد است. These are just like abjad to you. These names like mahf and sukr and M, these are just like meaningless, like the letters of the alphabet. They would categorize them in abjad, hawaz, qutti, that kind of thing. And all kids, all children can know, they can recite the abjad by heart. But do they know what they mean? No. I mean, even adults don't know what they mean. So that was Mawlana's reflection on these people who haven't seen true water, they haven't seen clear water, all they've seen is briny water. And Mawlana says that this is like us. This is like us who haven't seen, who haven't experienced those realities. All we've heard is things we've heard from fathers and grandfathers, but we haven't tasted those. We haven't experienced those. Yes, Kanza.
Yeah, well, there's so much. You can hear But I think the main point is like reference to Ibrahim, no? Basically, it's against taqlid, against just imitation without understanding what you're doing, like children reciting the alphabet, or I think that, but I have a little problem understanding something. He's talking about briny water, but in the jug there is pure water, supposedly. Or is it that the Bedouin thinks there is pure water, but actually there's no pure water?
Exactly.
That's what I don't get.
Yeah, I think Mawlana is saying they think it's the best water in the world because they haven't seen those rivers. So the Bedouin thinks this is the best water in the world.
But before, remember, he spoke about intention.
Yeah.
So his intention is pure. So he would bring what to him is the best water.
Yes.
But Mawlana is saying, even if you think it's the best water, it's actually briny water.
I think Mawlana is opening our eyes to our limitations. So don't be so proud. Know that there is something beyond this. Know that whatever we've got, there is more.
Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, compared to Allah, everything we've got is limited. Everything we've got is briny compared to that ocean. Yes, Ali.
I was just reminded of a line from Imam Fakhruddin Razi in his tafsir. It's in regards to a verse of the Qur'an where he says that for the true saints and those who truly know Allah, Allah is so great that everything else seems insignificant.
Allah, indeed, yes.
I think it's beautifully connected to this, to the verses that you read.
Indeed. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So, پس سبو برداشت آن مرد عرب. So the Arab man took the jug and started his journey towards Baghdad, towards the Khalifa. در سفر شد می‌کشیدش روز و شب. And day and night he carried this jug with him. بر سبو لرزان بود از آفات در. And he was so anxious, he was so worried for this jug because of all the dangers on the way. هم کشیدش از بیابان تا به شهر. So he's carrying this jug all the way from the desert to the city. So during this time, his wife, زن مصلا باز کرده از نیاز. During this time, the man's carrying the jug. His wife is praying. His wife is praying for him. He's saying, Rabb Salim, Ya Allah, protect him, protect the jug. که نگه دار آب ما را از خسان. Keep our water safe from danger. یا ربان گوهر بدان دریا رسان. And Ya Allah, let this pearl join that ocean of the Khalifa's bounty. گرچه شویم آگه هست و پرفن است. Yes, it's right. My husband knows all these arts. He's artful. He's skilled in all sorts of things. But I know that this pearl has a lot of this water has a lot of enemies. There are thieves on the way. They're bandits. So they might take this water from us. خود چه باشد گوهر آب کوثر است. It's more than a pearl. It's the water of Kawthar. It's the origin of the pearl. It's the essence of pearls. Now, Mawlana says both are important. The man's effort and the husband and the wife's prayer. You need both the steadfastness, the sabr and salat, as the Qur'an says. The steadfastness and also the prayer. And, earlier on, Mawlana says that the husband represents the aql, the intellect. And here the wife is saying, yes, the intellect knows many skills, knows many things, but it's not enough. You need prayer. You need to rely on Allah. As Hafiz says, right? Hafiz says, تکیه بر تقوا و دانش در طریقت کافری است. If you rely on your own taqwa, if you rely on your own piety, or you rely on your own knowledge, on your own skills, in the tariqah, this is kufr, this is disbelief. راه رو گر صد هنر دارد توکل بایدش. If you have 100 skills, you still need reliance on Allah. You still need to ask for help. You still need to pray. And yeah, that's what the woman is doing throughout this whole time. She's praying. She's praying, Rabbi Sallam, keep this water safe. So finally, سالم از دزدان و از آسیب سنگ برد تا دارالخلافه بیدرنگ. Finally, he reaches the Caliph, the Darul Khilafah, the court of the Caliph, and safe from robbers and safe from stones. So this here, this drug represents our fitra, so we need to keep it safe from the devils, from those outside influences. So this man was successful in keeping the drug and taking it to the Khalifa. And here he found that court, that majestic palace or majestic court of the Khalifa, which was open to everyone. As Mawlana says, Bahr Gabr mu'min ziba waznish. It was open to the Gabr. So Gabr in Persian, it's a Persianized form of kafir, actually. So Gabr is a Persianized form of kafir. It was used for Zoroastrians, but also in general, so non-Muslims. And mu'min, and the believer. So it was open to the believer and the non-believer. Ziba was this, the good and the bad, ugly and beautiful. It was open to everyone. Hamcho khurshid o matar, just like the sun. When the sun shines, it shines on everyone. It doesn't shine just on believers. It doesn't just shine on rich people, or it doesn't shine on people of certain group. It shines on everyone. The sun shines on everyone. When it rains on everyone. So Mawlana is saying divine graces, they shine on everyone. And that's on believers and non-believers. They're beautiful and ugly, except for those who hide themselves and shield themselves from those graces. Just like bats who hide themselves from the sun. It's their own fault, but the divine graces shine on everyone. So he saw khas ame as Sulaiman tabemur. He saw khas and ame, the elect and the commoner, the common people. So the distinguished and the commoner. As Sulaiman tabemur, Sulaiman was there and the ant was there. Everyone was receiving bounty from Allah. Zende gashte chun jahan az nafkh sur, and everyone was receiving life, just like the world receives life from the blast of the trumpet of Israfil at the end of the time. Ahl surat dar jawahir bafte. Those who were Ahl surat, those who were concerned with form, those who were concerned with appearances, concerned with the material world, they got what they want from the bounty of Allah. Those who ask for dunya, they receive dunya. Those who ask for form, they received form. Ahl ma'ni bahr ma'ni yafte. And those who were followers of reality, they found the ocean of reality. So those who didn't have aspiration, when they arrived there, they received more aspiration. Those who had aspiration, they received more and more ni'mat, more and more blessings and graces. So that's Mawlana's beautiful description of how beautiful that ocean is, how beautiful Allah's bounty is. And it's for everyone. It's for everyone, and everyone's welcome. Yes, Kanza.
No, I just have a comment that the image of the pearl is just so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, because it's like that play on words and play on meaning and image of you're going towards, like returning the pearl to where it came from, but you're holding a pearl. It's like, fitra, basically. It's just a beautiful image.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yes, Rafi.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, so the image, as Kanza said, of the pearl refers to the human soul, right? When it goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Exactly.
And has to be kept protected, or is that right? Because I didn't catch the first verses of the session because I joined late, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that the jug here is the human heart, the human self. And we need to take it to Allah, as in the Qur'an it says بِقَلْبٍ salim, right? A sound heart, a heart that's kept pure. And from all those thieves, from all those devils that are on the way. So it's not an easy But the husband tried his best to keep the jug safe, and the wife prayed. The wife kept praying throughout the whole time, and that's why they were able to take the jug safely to the Khalifa.
Right. That's really beautiful. And, I remember once I read in the book called Kanza Rama. You know, if you are familiar with it, the Sabeans. It's when it's described the time when the angels came down to Adam and they asked him. They said, Allah sent us to take your life because your term on this earth is over.
Yep.
And then he said, I have lots of responsibilities on this earth. You know, my children needs attention, and I have to take care of them. So why don't you go to my little son? You know, because he has no responsibilities basically, and maybe he can go with you basically. So when they went back to the son, they told him, hey, God sent us to take the life of your dad, but he said he had responsibilities and you don't have responsibilities. So what do you think? He said, oh, if that's what my dad said, then I will go, definitely. So the description of that, you know, soul going back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was very beautifully described in the book. They brought something, the angels, I mean, exactly described like what peril, you know.
A peril.
And no, the shell, you know, where the peril is you know, is stored. And then they put that, you know, they took his life and put him in that shell, and they started ascending. And that moment, Adam, when he saw it, he said, oh, what a beautiful scene, what a beautiful you know, like a caravan of angels. Please come down and take me instead of him. He said, no, we're not taking you. You decided not to go. So that, it seems that like that, like the leitmotif of the peril is, you know, is for a long time there, you know, in the thinking of people, and also in the descriptions, and even in the holy books, you know.
Indeed, yep. So this is this is in the holy book of the Sabians. Is that?
Their book. It's called the Kanza Rama. Yeah, it is described. You know, it's a beautifully described, you know, scene where that happens. You know.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so I guess we could read the next section, inshallah. Ali Jan, would you mind?
Yeah, no problem. Just the English translation,
yes,
right?
please. Yeah.
Okay, yes. Showing that as the beggar is in love with bounty and in love with the bountiful giver, so the bounty of the bountiful giver is in love with the beggar. If the beggar have the greater patience, the bountiful giver will come to his door. And if the bountiful giver have the greater patience, the beggar will come to his door. But the beggar's patience is a virtue in the beggar, while the patience of the bountiful giver is in him a defect. A loud call was coming. Come, O seeker, bounty is in need of beggars, like a beggar. Bounty is seeking the beggars and the poor, just as fair ones who seek a clear mirror. The face of the fair is made beautiful by the mirror. The face of the beneficence is made visible by the beggar. Therefore, on this account, God said in Surah Wa'd al-Duha, O Muhammad, do not shout at the beggar. And as much as the beggar is the mirror of bounty, take care. Breath is hurtful to the face of the mirror. In the one case, his bounty makes the beggar manifest, while in the other case, He bestows on the beggars more. Beggars then are the mirror of God's bounty, and they that are with God are the absolute bounty. And everyone except those two is truly a dead man. He's not at this door. He is a picture on a curtain.
So this is what Mawlana says, چنان که گدا عاشق کرم است, just like the beggar loves bounty and the kareem and the bountiful, a person who is kareem, a person who is bountiful also goes and looks for beggars. Because if there are no beggars, there can be no bountiful person. The bounty of the bountiful depends on the begging of the beggars. So karam kareem ham aashiq gedaast. The bounty of the bountiful is in love with the beggar. So Allah Ta'ala needs those who are in need, those who are beggars, in a sense. And this is something that they ask Abu Sayyid Abu al-Khair. Why did Allah Ta'ala create us? Why did God create the human beings? And why did create anything at all? And Abu Sayyid Abu al-Khair answers in a simple way, but beautiful way. He says, because he was bountiful and he had no one to give to. So he had to create someone to give to. And he was forgiving. So he needed people to forgive. So that's what Mawlana is saying. The beggar is the mirror in which the bountiful sees his own bounty. So a loud call was coming. Bang mi amad ke ey talib bia. Jud muhtajan gedaayan chun geda. Bounty is in need of beggars just like a beggar. And this reminds me of a hadith actually that's commonly quoted hadith, that Allah Ta'ala comes to the sky and says, who is there that asks me so that I can give? Who is there who asks forgiveness so I can forgive? So Allah Ta'ala is actively coming down, actively saying, who is there? I want to forgive. I want to give more. So it's not just us who go to Allah, it's also Allah coming to us and saying, come to me. So روی خوبان زاینه زیبا شود، روی احسان از گدا پیدا شود. Just like the beautiful ones look for a mirror, the bountiful ones look for beggars, look for those who are in need, look for those who are in supplication. Mawlana Shams Tabrizi, he says, don't take your life to Allah. It's like taking zirebe Kerman more than it's like taking Qiyum into Kerman. God is the source of all life. God is the source of all knowledge. What he doesn't have is need. So take need to Allah. Take supplication to Allah. That's what Allah doesn't have. Allah doesn't have need. So آن یکی جودش گدا آرد پدید. His bounty makes the beggar manifest. It's out of his bounty that he makes these beggars. And then he gives to them and he bestows on them more and more and more. پس گدایان آیت جود حقند. So beggars are the mirrors of Allah Ta'ala's bounty. And those who are those who are with God, their absolute bounty. So Mawlana is saying either you should be in supplication, or you should, as the abd of Allah, as the servant of Allah, or you should act as the Khalifa of Allah and give to others and be bountiful. If you're not one of these, then you're dead. If you're not one of these two, then you're dead. And then you're just like a picture on a curtain. You have no real existence. It's just a form. It's just a form without reality. It's a form without meaning. Yes, Rafa.
So, Brother Sina, when you say like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actively seeking and he comes down from where to where?
Yeah, it's
is it figurative or?
That's interesting. Yes, that's interesting because it's a hadith. But actually, it's famous for this reason because Ibn Taymiyyah, they asked him how does Allah Ta'ala come down, and he literally came down from the minbar and said, this is how he comes down. But what I understand from it is the hadith is saying Allah Ta'ala is actively seeking. It's not just saying I'm here, come to me. No, he's coming to you. He's saying come to me. So it's I understand it more figuratively, but yes, there are those who understand it quite literally. Yes, Allah Ta'ala is coming down.
Yeah, it's dangerous, to take it literally actually, because that's that would be interpreted in so many things. It actually was captured by Plato himself. He said, a God cannot be a God if he moves from one point to the other. And Imam Ali alayhi salam says, you cannot pin him down, to a place. Otherwise, another place will be empty of him. Exactly. You cannot say he goes up or goes down, because that would mean, that, like there is a place where he doesn't,
Exactly. Nowhere is empty of Allah Ta'ala.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a beautiful thing, we see it like every day, and even, it is captured by like these details, beautiful ones by Imam Ali alayhi salam. And he says like this action, the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a certain name, that name is active, like it doesn't wear down, it doesn't stop, it doesn't ceases to exist. And when it says Khaliq, means that the creation, the act of creation is incessantly happening, like when he's a giver, that action is all the time happening, it doesn't cease, it doesn't has a start, it doesn't has an end, it's like something really very beautiful. It just needs, as you said, it needs us, to seek it, to open up, to it. It's like we are a utensil that receives that bounty that comes down to us.
Yep. Thank you. Anita?
I think there was also another place that we read in Divan about this dynamic of niaz and niaz, right? Where Mawlana says that you should become niaz and Allah is all niaz, and then you'll see the beauty of it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So Mawlana said, "Cho yar naz namayat shama niyaz konid." When Allah Ta'ala does naz, you bring supplication. But when you bring supplication, then Allah Ta'ala becomes all niyaz for you. So it's that dynamic of naz and niyaz.
Indeed. And I also thought that I think it's Ibn Sina that mentions in his Shifa that it is in Allah's character that he is the sustainer and he's the bountiful. So Allah cannot not be the sustainer and the bountiful. It is out of Allah's character to say that Allah does not create a world, because that is Allah by definition. So mercy is part of the definition that we know Allah by, that he describes himself.
Indeed. Yeah, in Persian you say "Pariru tab masturi nadarad." A beautiful face cannot stay hidden. It wants to disclose, wants to show everyone. Yeah, so that's the self-disclosure of Allah. Yes, Zahra.
Yeah, it also reminded me of our daily prayers that we're meant to do every day. And in every rakat, we have to we have to read Surah Fatiha. And in there it says, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, which is, you are the only one we worship, and you alone do we ask for help. Just constantly reminding us that this is why we're here. Don't forget, we need, he's the only one that we need to ask for help, nobody else. And we forget, we get so tied into the world.
Yes, Kanza.
Yeah, just a small remark. I don't know where I read that, but it's this idea that how can I say, this beggar shows his face when needed. For instance, suddenly you're going to walk in the street and there's going to be somebody begging. Like very often you don't go looking, like goodness is given to you. Because the beggar is goodness, because you can show your generosity by giving. So it's like God places those beggars on your way for you to do good. Indeed. So you don't give to God. God is al-Ghani. He doesn't need anything. So, but he makes you be good by placing these beggars on your way.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, indeed. And yeah, that's, why Mawlana is reminding us. پس از این فرمود حق در وصلها. That's why Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Wadduha, بانگ کم زن ای محمد برگدا. Don't shout at the beggar. Because the beggars are the mirrors of the bounty of Allah.
Yeah, that was the point. فلا تنهر, no?
فلا تنهر.
Yeah, فلا تنهر. So it's like don't push them away, because they were put there by God for you to give to them for your own good. So this is part of God's generosity, to have these beggars on your path.
Yeah, indeed. Yes, Sahaja.
I slightly understand it differently. I kind of think maybe the beggar is us asking God, not a beggar asking a human being. Because ultimately we need to ask God. I mean, who are we to want to go and give to a beggar? We're all beggars,
Yeah, so the way I understood is it's in a sense both. So Mawlana is saying پس گدایان آیت جود حقند. So beggars are the mirror of Allah Ta'ala's bounty. So you should become a beggar. You should beg Allah. You should become a beggar to Allah, and that's when you receive Allah's bounty. Or be bountiful to others. Those who align themselves with Allah, they become bounty. They become bountiful. And I mean, they're not in contradiction. You should be both. It should be both. You should be a beggar to Allah, but also bountiful to others. Give to others. It's like in Sama, right? You receive the greatest from heaven and you give it to others. Yes, Kanza.
No, I just want to say that in Morocco, there's an expression that when you give money to a beggar or somebody, and then they say thank you.
Yes.
The polite way to answer is saying, this is not from me.
This is not.
This is from God. Like, I'm just like the channel. I'm just
like the vehicle. Yeah.
I'm just the vehicle, and I'm not giving. So it's kind of a adab way to answer the thank you of the beggar, because he's not thanking me, or if I'm giving, he's thanking the one who allows it to come to him.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, we're just the channel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's this Sufi anecdote that someone helps another person in need, and he says thank you, and he says, I'm not giving it to you. I'm not giving it to you. It's for Allah. And it says, I'm not taking it from you. So we're both vehicles here. Yes, Rafa.
So the anecdote was really very funny. That I don't give to you. I don't take from you. Which is right. It is said, like in the hadith, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly receives the sadaqah. When you give it to the poor, to the beggar on the street, or anybody. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly. And that's why for the imams used to say, when they give it sadaqah, they take it back and sniff it. Like, they tell him, let me smell it. So like the atar, the perfume of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presence. It's not like a physical taking, of course. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah yurbi sadaqat. He takes them and he make them, he multiplies them, just like we multiply the seeds, and that's the figure of multiplication. The seeds multiplication is there in the Qur'an. كمثل حبة أنبتت 7 سنابل في كل سنبلة 100 حبة. That's kind of multiplication. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes it and multiplies it. Once you go there, you will find it there. And yes, this, like in the understanding of the beggar, we can be the beggar. At the same time, we are the givers. وَاسْأَلُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ عَلِيمًا. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and at the same time, there are. It's just like it's a cycle, We ask Allah. There are people, well, the people are actually always, even the beggars, are not supposed to ask people for the help. They should have made their, and that's why in the dua, Allahumma ja'al hajati ilayk wa qada'a alayk. Make my need for you and the completion or fulfillment of my need through you. But they chose these beggars. Like, if we are talking about the beggars, they chose to ask the people. And but they are not supposed to. They are supposed to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And He will give them. But it's also a way, for the others to help and to show their generosity and kindness and giving, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will eventually make it bountiful.
Yes. Yeah, indeed. Thank you. Yes, Ali.
Perhaps another thing is also that we should try to give when we have a lot and when we have nothing, right? Because sometimes I might think with myself that, okay, one day when I have a really good job and I have more wealth, then I can give a part of that. But then when I'm not in such a good financial situation, then I should try not to give anything away, right? Keep it for myself. But the truth is that we should give when we have everything and when we have nothing, right? Because ultimately it belongs to Allah. And I think it's the process of detachment from materialism, from the forms, that we share of what we have, and we're in constant gratitude to the created and the creator, as Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq says. I was reminded of this story from Life of Imam Ali, where he gives and is bountiful in essence without discrimination. So the story goes that Imam Ali is in Kufa, and one morning he's on his way to the mosque, or he's on his way to the state of Kufa, and he suddenly sees a beggar, somebody who's begging on the streets, and it's an old man. So Imam Ali asks, who is this man that is begging? Why does he not receive the benefits of the Bayt al-Mal like the rest of mu'mineen? And then one of his companions says, "Oh, yeah, Ali, don't worry about this guy. He's not even Muslim. He's a Jew. We shouldn't worry about him." And when Imam Ali hears this, he becomes very angry and frustrated. And he says, when he was young and when he was energetic, you took his energy and you took his work. And now when he has nothing to give, you don't want to give him anything, not even what he deserves. So he immediately orders that a portion of the Bayt al-Mal is given to him, despite the fact that he's not Muslim. And sometimes I see this kind of discrimination when it comes to sharing the wealth that Allah has given us, that the Muslims, they should get more, or in another place the Christians should get more, but in reality it should be shared equally, because Imam Ali says that you have two brothers, either those who are in your religion or those who are in humanity. Indeed. I think that's important.
Indeed. And it reminds me of, again, Abu Sayyid Abu al-Khair in his khanaqah. So he had this written on the door of his khanaqah. هر که بدین درگاه درآید نانش دهید. Whoever comes to this place, give him bread. و از ایمانش مپرسید. And don't ask what his religion is. Right? Give him bread, don't ask what his religion is. چه هر که به درگاه خداوند به جان ارزد، به درگاه ابو سعید به نان ارزد. So whoever is worthy to have received life from Allah is worthy to receive bread from Abu Said. So if someone's received life from God, it means he's worthy to receive bread. So don't ask, no, you should be my religion so that I will give to you. No, anyone. As Mawlana said, just like the sun shines on everyone. It rains on everyone. Okay, so yeah, I guess we could move on to Divan Shams. So yeah, the next section, so Mawlana is going to elaborate more on this. So he said, he's not at this door, he's a picture on a curtain. And then the next section, Mawlana is going to tell us there's a difference between those who are real dervishes and those who are like pictures. They don't have a soul, they don't have the reality of a dervish. So he's saying there are people who are darvish ast be Khuda, there are people who are port for God, faqir al-Allah, and they're thirsting for Allah. That's the real dervishes, the real Sufis. But there are also others who pretend to be Sufis, who pretend to be dervishes, but they're darvishas as Khuda. They're poor of God. There's no godliness in them. There's little godliness in them. And they're thirsting for other things. They're thirsting for other than Allah, Allah, whether it's worldly things or rank or whatever, reputation, whatever it is. So next section, Mawlana is going to talk about the real Sufis and those who pretend to be Sufis, but they're pictures, a picture of a dervish. They don't have the soul of a dervish or the reality of a dervish. So yeah, inshallah, next week we'll start that section.